So I debated Donovan Sharpe yesterday.
Gusta Janice, I don't know how you even pronounce that. She's a slut. She's this pro-feminist, blah, 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 blah. She's a good-looking girl, man. She's beautiful. But, dude, not worth it. Stay away from this girl. Stay away from this woman. She is dangerous to your health.
Donovan was hella fucking nice. I was hella fucking nice. And it went so well. And I'm actually so happy about it. Like, I think respect is earned, and he earned my respect yesterday. Although I don't agree with almost anything he says in regards to like women and like dating advice, he was really respectful. He listened to me. I listened to him. It was a really good discussion. So without further ado, here's the debate from last night. Wait a motherfucking minute. I just checked Donovan Sharpe's YouTube page and I was like looking at the comments on the stream. Ew. Oh my god, I hope my subscribers are not stupid like his, because y'all are crusty, musty, dusty, fugly. You heard that? Exactly. That's what I think. Meow, bitch. Callie, tell them you think that they're dumb. Good.
I almost forgot that this was Thursday Night Football. Okay, Guste, let's get right into it. So what we're gonna have is we're gonna have a civil discussion.
Love it. I think sounds good.
What's that?
I said love it. Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll let you kick it off. I'll let you lead off. Go ahead.
Well, I guess via email, I know you wanted to talk about false accusations. So I was curious to know what sort of ideology like you are pushing towards false accusations. Like, what's the point of bringing up the topic of false accusations?
Yeah, the point of bringing up false EPAR accusations is when you were on the Fresh and Fit podcast, you were a very strong proponent of the listen and believe. I am strongly opposed to that, and the reason for that is because there are many women who falsely accuse men of EPAR, and a lot of this is common sense. If a woman who is truly EPAR'd, so to speak, that is a horrible crime. It's a horrible crime if it happens to women. It's a horrible crime if it happens to men. But there are women out here who purposely falsely accuse men of EPAR, and then they have the gall to say, well, people ask them, well, why didn't you go to the police? Well, I didn't go to the police because I didn't want to risk shame and embarrassment. So let me get this straight. You can't go to the police, but you can tell 15,000 strangers on the Fresh and Fit podcast that something happened to you. And I agree with Myron. It's not that he was discounting her experience. What he was trying to get across, and I agree totally, is that we don't know what happened. We don't know what didn't happen. And so my contention is, listen, we can believe someone so long as there's evidence.
For sure. But the statistics say that it's around 1.5% to 8% of accusations which are actually false. And that number itself is actually incredibly smaller than it is, because 63% of rape accusations go unreported. So that percentage is coming from 37% of reports that are actually reported to police. So that number is close to more like 0.8% are actually false accusations. Therefore, 95 to 98% of the time, a woman is telling the truth. And one clear indicator that you know if a woman is in fact lying about her accusation is that she has a criminal background of criminal fraud of some sort. So I think it's really dangerous to push the ideology that false accusations are very common, because they're not. They're extremely rare. And rape happens a lot more often than false accusations do. So I think this ideology not only perpetuates the idea that it happens often when it doesn't, but this plays a role in why so many rapes go unreported, is because of people pushing this sort of ideology where if they report it, then they are dismissed, they're not believed, they're called a liar, and that sort of stuff. And as well as this, women have less than 1% chance of actually convicting their rapist into prison. So if those were the statistics for, a surgery, you wouldn't do the surgery if you knew you had 1% chance of coming out of that surgery alive. So.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's not an ideology. This is common sense. I don't know what the statistics are. I don't really, I try not to get bogged down by that kind of stuff because statistics, as you probably well know, they can say whatever it is you want them to say. You mentioned that 63 or 66% of rapes go unreported. How do you know if they're not reported?
I mean, this is coming from the FBI and also the United States Justice Department. So I think that's a better question to ask them. I didn't do that much digging as to how they got those numbers, but I personally trust those resources.
And so do I. It would be very difficult for me to believe whatever organization there is out there. How can you put a number on something? You can't. How can you put a number in terms of percentage
surveys.
on
You can
something
send
that
surveys,
is non-quantifiable?
for example.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Can you repeat?
No, what I was asking is that, okay, the FBI and the Justice Department, how do they know how many rapes go unreported? I mean, do they have cameras in people's living rooms? Are people who don't go to the cops, go to the government and say, hey, listen, I didn't report my rape. You can count me to that one.
I mean, yeah, I'm assuming they do it through like surveys that they ask people. But I mean, I think that the FBI and the Justice Department have qualified individuals to make those sort of assumptions and make those sort of facts available to people online. I don't think they're just pulling that out of their ass.
Let me ask you this. In terms of, now, you mentioned the fact that women often are discouraged to come forward because they're not believed and they feel like they'll be vilified. I think it's the opposite. I think women today are incentivized to falsely accuse men of rape. And this happens, and what's interesting, you can't really, I'm not going to get into percentages because, we don't really know everything that happens. But I do know this. If the accused is an athlete or celebrity or someone with means, and she doesn't go to the cops, but she wants to sue him civilly, that to me, and listen, maybe the rape happened, maybe it didn't, but this is the reason why women who come forward, and they, like Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks, he was accused of rape. She didn't go to the cops. She tried to sue him in civil court. Derrick Rose got accused of rape. She didn't go to the cops. She went to civil court. A lot of these really do end up becoming money grabs. And the danger with this is that women are not shamed for coming forward with rape accusations. They are glorified. Emma Solkowitz, she carried her mattress around. She was hailed as a hero, even invited to the White House. Come to find out, she falsely accused that guy of rape. Jackie Coakley out there at Virginia, it was almost the same situation. I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and say that rape doesn't happen, because clearly we all know that it does. But my stance is that if it's even if it were 0.1% of all reported rape accusations were false, to me, that number is still too big, because we are giving women, with listen and believe, we are giving women license to literally ruin a man's life. I'm going to ruin a man's life. I can falsely accuse him of rape. The Jake Paul situation. This girl says that he raped her face or something like that. That turned out to be completely false. Again, I understand that rapes do happen and rape occurs, and that is never, ever a good thing. But we're not pushing an ideology here. There is no ideology. All we're saying is, listen, if you're going to accuse someone of a crime, hey, no problem. There are rape shield laws. If you report a rape to the cops, there are rape shield laws that keep a woman's name redacted from the report so that she can escape the scrutiny and this and that. We didn't even know what Kobe Bryant's rape accuser's name was, or even Jameis Winston's, until they cut their deals or they were gotten off. All we're saying, I guess, in this community is, if you're going to accuse someone of a crime that serious, you have to have proof. Listen and believe, to me, says guilty until proven innocent. What say you? And
what is that proof? What sort of proof can I give that I was raped?
Sure. A rape kit. That's one.
Okay. Well, did you know that since February of 2021 in Texas, there are currently 6,000 abortion kits that have been untested? This goes for the entire United States population. There are currently 200,000 to 400,000 rape kits that are untested, when in 2019, there were 600,000 reported rape cases. So half of those haven't even been tested. And this is why rapists keep getting away with crimes, is because this shit isn't taken seriously.
Now, that I disagree with. I think rape is taken very seriously. Listen, any man who rapes a woman deserves to be put in jail. I don't think anybody's arguing that. What I'm saying is that if a rape occurred, there has to be evidence and proof. So am I to believe? And I live in Camden County, New Jersey, right across from Philadelphia. So am I to believe that if, hypothetically speaking, one guy goes to another girl's apartment and he e-pars or he rapes her and she goes to the cops, are you telling me that that rape kit is not going to be tested for DNA or semen?
I'm saying it's unlikely since there's 400,000 current tests that have been untested due to.
So you're telling, okay, so it is your contention that if a woman goes to the cops and there's a rape kit, it is unlikely to be tested.
Yeah, from the statistics that I have here, that's what it looks like to me.
That doesn't make any sense. If a girl goes,
it doesn't make sense at all. But this is the fact: is that there are 400,000 rape kits currently in America that have gone untested. So
that doesn't mean that if listen, I don't know how accurate those statistics are. And listen, I guess I'll take your word for it. But I cannot wrap my mind around if a woman gets raped outside right now and she goes to the cops right now that they aren't going to do a rape kit right now. You're telling me
a rape kit 100%, but it's going to sit in a facility untouched. And that's how a lot of these cases go. Like there's multiple stories of women who have come forward and they've all done rape kits. And there's 11 of the same rape kits sitting in this facility with the same exact guy's DNA, and they just don't test it until 20 years later. They finally get to it, and they could have avoided all these other women who were raped if they had just tested it sooner, not 20 years later when it's not really relevant anymore.
I'm sure that there are rape kits that don't go that go untested. Why do they go untested?
When I tried looking that up, the information that I got was that there's not enough public funding for how many tests there are to actually test it. So it's like a funding issue, which I think that should be really important if you are noticing that, this is a problem. There should be more funding towards that section. But I also wanted to include that, yes, false accusations do happen. And my heart goes out to every man or woman who has been falsely accused. That is extremely wrong. But at the same time, we need to focus on the bigger issue at hand, which is how many women are actually being raped versus how many people are actually being falsely accused. False accusations are down here, 0.8% chance you're going to get falsely accused versus 1 in 6 women are raped or attempted rape in their lifetime. As well as this, there's 1 in 33 men who experience rape or attempted rape in their lifetime. So 3% of American men will experience rape in their lifetime. So men have a higher chance of being raped and sexually assaulted than they do of falsely accused. So if anything, we should be focusing our attention on, men's mental health and men coming forward about, their rape stories, because they also don't come out in fear of looking less masculine and not being believed as well. And I think we should be putting our attention towards those men versus focusing on the perpetrator. We're emphasizing more with the perpetrator than we are the victim. There's way less false accusations than there are women being raped. So one issue is a lot larger than the other, and we're choosing to focus on something very minuscule that is not affecting a lot of men.
I suppose that could make sense, except for we still have men that are falsely accused of rape. Brian Banks comes to mind. That's another one. It's interesting. Now we really have to ask ourselves, because I ask my question all the time. Me and my girlfriend, we like to watch these we like to watch murder porn and crime dramas and things of that nature. And like, you watch the trial, you watch everything happen. And at some point you have to ask yourself, which is worse, to convict the innocent or to free the guilty? And I don't think anyone can answer that question. But again, I'll go back to saying, listen, rape is it's terrible. But what's even worse is being falsely accused, and you don't even have to
That's not worse than rape. You think being falsely accused is worse than actual rape? No.
I suppose, well, you know what? I'm a man. I've never been raped, and I've never been falsely accused of rape. But if I'm a man and I'm accused of rape, then yeah, to me,
that sucks for sure. But I just don't think that's worse than actual rape.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, there's no need to get into a pissing contest. They're both bad. But
yeah, they are. For sure.
Right. But to say that to say that false rape accusations don't happen enough for us to give a shit, to me, that's irresponsible. Like nobody in listen, I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't know of anyone in my community, in this community, who says, well, you know what? It's too bad they were. No. Listen, if a man commits the crime of rape, he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But going back to the beginning of the conversation, you said, what proof do you need? Mm-hmm. The rape kit is not the only hard evidence you need. If a man forcibly had sex with a woman, then guess what? Mm-hmm. There are going to be defensive wounds. They're probably going to find DNA under the fingernails.
Not always true. 49% of women who have experienced rape claim that they were in fear of their life and they thought they were going to die. And because of this, women usually think that becoming submissive during their attack is going to give them a better chance of surviving their attack, which is why a lot of women usually are submissive when this kind of assault happens. Either they, like freeze up, or some women do actually have defensive wounds. They have, DNA under their fingernails. And this is proven time and time again that this does happen. But there are those other women who don't fight back because, number one, they're either dissociating from how much trauma is going on in that current moment.
I'll give you that.
Or they think that they have a better chance of surviving their assault by being submissive.
No, I would. Now that I actually had a conversation with my girlfriend when we first started dating. I think it was either her cousin or somebody, but I remember she described this to me. She said, and this is when we were actually talking about date rape. And she says, look, man, if a girl finds herself in a precarious position, she would rather just go along with it rather than fighting back unsuccessfully. So it's better to have what appears to be and feels like consensual sex than actually being raped.
Yeah, that is also a really great point. It also takes a lot of rape victims, I think, time to understand what really happened to them. That's why some victims come forward years after their attack. For example, I had an experience and I didn't realize what it was until a year after. It's something you push in the back of your head and you're like, no, like that didn't happen. But in reality, like sooner or later, it comes back and you're like, oh, that wasn't okay.
What do you define? What's your definition of rape? No, I'm genuinely interested to know, because I think there might be a difference of opinion here.
So I think rape is forcible, like either you are coerced or manipulated or forcibly penetrated either orally or vaginally or anally.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what I would say.
Okay. So forcibly, physically, I understand that. Coerced or manipulated? Give me an example of that.
So, for example, like emotional blackmail. If I have a boyfriend, a lot of people think that if you're in a relationship, you can't get raped by your significant other, which is completely false. So let's say I have a boyfriend and, he's, trying to engage in sexual intercourse, and personally, I'm not in the mood. And I'm like, I'm not in the mood. Like, don't touch me, whatever. And he's like, oh, then you don't love me. You don't love me if you don't fuck me right now. That's emotional blackmail. He's manipulating me into giving him something he wants when I don't want to and I'm not comfortable.
Why not just tell him no? Because if a man says to you, listen, if you don't have sex with me, then you don't love me. Well, then guess what? I guess I don't love you.
I guess not. No, exactly. And, some women are strong enough to put their foot down and be like, no, go fuck yourself. But a lot of the times, these women are, 16, 17, 18, like they're young, they're naive. They're like, oh, you're right. I'm your girlfriend. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job, is to pleasure you. So a lot of women give into that. As well as, like blue balls, for example. There's been multiple times where I was with a guy and I didn't want to do anything sexual, but time and time again, blue balls was brought up. Oh, like, I'm going to get blue balls. Like, I'm in like so much pain. And like, then I feel guilty for not engaging because now you're in pain, so it's
that's
things
not
like
rape. That's not rape. That's just him being a baby. Oh, I got blue balls. Please have sex with me. Like, come on.
You know that person doesn't want to have sex, yet you are continuously pushing and trying ways to get them to have sex with you. It's like a challenge that they enjoy. Is, oh, like, I can clearly tell that she's not interested in having sex with me, but I'm going to say whatever it takes and do whatever it takes so she eventually opens up her legs for me. And that's not consensual. Coercion isn't consent at all.
Okay, coercion isn't consent, but that's not rape, especially if, again, you could leave, or I don't want to say you, the girl could leave at any time. If a girl has a boyfriend, I've got blue balls, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I guess I'll do it. That's not rape. She had sex she didn't want to have. Just because a woman is not in the mood to have sex and she says, you know what? Listen, man, let me just give him some just to shut him up. That's not rape. She didn't have to if she didn't want to. That was her choice.
So you think that rape only is when it's forcible, when I'm like tied down, thrown into an alley, like it's violent?
Not at all. No, rape comes in many forms, but the way
Mm-hmm.
you described it, that's not it. That's not coercion. That's just, again, the boyfriend gave you a choice. He said, if you don't have sex, and I know I'm doing two different examples here, just stay with me. He says,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have sex with me, then you don't love me. Well, at that point, the girl or the woman has a choice. Okay, well, do I have sex with this guy or not? Either way, it's
Yeah,
her
the girl
choice.
thinks, do I love him? And the answer is most likely yes. So she's going to fold under that sort of, and it's only until she grows up a couple of years later and she realizes that was fucked up. Like that wasn't right. And that, to me, that is rape, because you are making me do something I don't want to do by either emotionally blackmailing me, coercing me, or manipulating me into doing something, like it's just not, that's not consensual. And if it's not consensual, then I would say it's rape.
I would say rape is not good enough. And I'll put it to you this way. If you were to accuse somebody, if a girl were to accuse a guy of rape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're standing up there, the defense and blah, 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 blah. Well, Miss Smith, please tell me what happened. Well, I went over to my boyfriend's house and he told me he had blue balls and I told him I wasn't in the mood, but he just kept on and kept on. And finally he said, listen, if you don't have sex with me, you don't love me. So I decided I had sex with him so that he would think that, and I do love my boyfriend, Your Honor. And so I decided to have sex with him. Guess what's going to happen? That's going to be not guilty, because and again, I think I want you to clearly understand this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use myself as an example. My girlfriend never denies me sex, but guess what, Guste? She doesn't always want to have sex with me. You want to know why she has sex with me? Because she knows that will keep me around. She has sex with me to keep me from going and getting it from other girls. Just because, and I don't want to go apex fallacy here, because I understand what you're saying on some level, but
Mm-hmm.
at some point we have to understand that girls are not always going to be in the mood for sex. If a girl has sex with her
And respect
boyfriend,
that.
or
It's called boundaries.
say again.
And I said you should respect that. It's called boundaries. If I'm not in the mood, then don't pressure me into doing anything.
I don't pressure my girlfriend to do I don't pressure my girlfriend into having
That's
sex.
great. Good to hear. It's a healthy relationship.
It's good to hear. But if I want to have sex, she's going to have sex with me, because if she doesn't want to have sex with me, I'm not going to force myself on her. I'll just go out and get it somewhere else. You can call that emotional manipulation, call that whatever. But if she ends up having sex with me to keep me from going to have sex with other girls, that's not rape. Listen, if that's the way you define rape, then that's fine. But the way I define rape is the way the court of law defines it. If it can be prosecuted and convicted in a court of law, I'm all for it. But, and I could be wrong. Now I might be behind the times here, but I don't think there is a red-blooded judge in the 50 or 51 of the United States who's going to send a guy to jail because his girlfriend had sex with him to shut him up and keep him from whining.
And those women aren't reporting these kinds of cases to police. Like, trust me, you are not doing yourself a favor by reporting a rape to a police, because out of 1,000 rapes, I wrote this down. It's actually really fucking crazy. So for every 1,000 rapes, 384 are reported to the police. That's how many out of 1,000 are actually reported. 57 result in an arrest. 11 are referred for prosecution. Then 7 result in a felony conviction, and only 6 actually result in incarceration. So if you report a rape, you have less than 1% chance of actually convicting your rapist and them going to prison. So regardless, like, even if, let's say, a woman does want to falsely accuse someone of rape for money, revenge, whatever the fuck she wants to do, she has less than 1% chance of really getting away with that. So it literally makes no sense for someone to do that, knowing the odds are against you.
It makes no sense for anyone to falsely accuse somebody of rape?
Well, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense. Sure, like, people have their motives, but it wouldn't make sense to go through the judicial system to try and convict this person, because it's not likely whatsoever.
Fair enough. If what you're saying is true, and I'll take your word for it. If what you're saying is true, then yeah, that's a bad thing. If men are raping women, then and women are going to the cops and they're not doing anything about it, I think that would be a problem. But don't you think we'd hear more about this in the news, especially because women like you are treated like an endangered species?
Yeah, I do think that people are, I mean, I don't watch the news. I feel like the news is really garbage,
Okay,
personally.
that's
So,
fair. All right. All right.
but I think like on social media and stuff, more and more women, for example, are speaking out about like these kinds of things because I'll send you like where I'm getting these resources. I double check to make sure they're like scholarly and like peer reviewed, whatever.
Sure.
But I just think it's like really important to focus on the larger issue at hand, which is the amount of rape that's really going on. In 2019 alone, there were 600,000 rapes. 1 in 6 women is going to, experience rape or attempted rape in their lifetime. And I think that we need to start focusing on how to decrease this number versus focusing on the amount of men who are falsely accused, which is less than 1%.
So the statistic goes, I guess, in the same vein. What is it, like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 women on a college campus is likely to be, like, what's the stat there? Like 20%?
College statistics are very different. I'm not sure about college, but I know the general statistic is 1 in 6 for like American women. College is different. I think it's like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4.
Okay. Let's just say it was 1 in 5. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
cool.
I don't have a daughter, but if I did, and I absolutely believed that 1 in 5 women on college campuses are being raped, I would not send her to college. Yet, millions of American parents continue to send their girls, their daughters,
That's
to
victim
college
blaming.
campuses.
That's saying like
That's not victim blaming. That's just no. Listen, if I'm a parent, and I actually believe that statistic, I would be irresponsible to send my kid to college. So what that tells me is that parents understand that number is drastically inflated, because I would not, in good conscience, send my daughter, my would-be daughter, to college if there were a 20% chance of her being raped. I just wouldn't do it.
Okay, well, if you were having a child with your girlfriend and it turned out that she was giving birth to a little girl, would you abort the child? Because that child has 1 in 6 chance of being raped in their lifetime, and you're being an irresponsible parent by having a little girl, when we live in such a society where
that's
she
a false
has
dichotomy.
such a big
That's a
chance
false
of being
dichotomy.
raped.
Listen, I understand what you're saying, but abortion and rape are two very,
Oh,
very
no. I'm just saying, you're saying it's irresponsible for a parent to send their kid to college knowing that it's 1 in 5. But you as a parent, if you are going to birth a little girl, you are just as irresponsible for having a child.
No, I don't believe that.
It's the same logic.
So let's stay in that same logic. So 1 in 6 women get raped. So 16% of women are raped. So you are telling me that 8 out of 50 women walking the streets are or have been raped.
Yeah, and it's super underreported. That number is way, way higher, because I personally, all of my girlfriends that I know, none of them have not been sexually assaulted or raped. And I have a lot of girlfriends.
Listen, I'm not denying that rape happens. And listen, if it's not being taken seriously, I guess shame on the government. But if it was that easy to get away with rape, don't you think a lot more of it would be?
Yes, and it's happening at an alarming rate. Every year, the rape number goes up 2.9% annually.
Okay.
So clearly this is an issue that isn't stopping. And it's really important for men like you and like important men with huge platforms to kind of speak about this, because we need men in order for this to, work. Like, just us women talking about it isn't going to help. Men need to be involved.
I got news for you. I got news for you, Guste. Trust me, women have enough advocates.
Not enough men advocates. We need men in this battle with us.
Well, listen, I'm not going to be one of those. I'm not going to be one of those men, and the reason why is because I stand up for men who are falsely accused. Listen, there are plenty of advocates for women that.
Why are you empathizing more with the perpetrator than the victims? I don't understand.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Why are you empathizing more with the perpetrators than the victims?
The alleged victims, number one, and that's
no,
exactly
95% of them are telling the truth.
Okay.
So
hey, well, listen. Then guess what? I guess I'm gonna listen. I'm not saying I don't have to pick sides. Like, just because I'm speaking against false rape accusations does not mean that I'm not.
Sides.
Hold on. Doesn't mean that I'm not. Hold on. Doesn't mean that I'm not giving credibility to the 95% of the women who are allegedly telling the truth. My contention is that we can't just believe all women. There has got to be proof. And rape now seems to be so. It seems to be so nebulous. It's no wonder guys are backing off. Listen, I don't doubt that what you're telling me doesn't. I'm not doubting that what you say happens. It absolutely happens. But I think I think women like yourself, you need to understand that, okay, maybe I'm not seeing how much rape there is, right? But I think it's fairly clear that you don't see how much false rape accusations happen dude, Bill, oh,
I did.
God.
I did the calculations myself. 0.8% of accusations are false, and that is the smallest little number. Why are we focusing on that?
Because those men's lives matter. They matter.
And so do the women who are being raped every fucking day. So I think that matters more, honestly. There's a larger percent of women being raped than there are men being falsely accused.
Okay, so because
focusing on the wrong issue.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So because more women are being raped than men being falsely accused, you're going to empathize more with the victims rather than the accused.
One is way bigger of a problem, and the other one is like these little tiny outliers that happen once in a blue moon.
So false rape accusations are outliers, statistical anomalies, you say?
Yes, they are. 0.8% of accusations are false.
Okay. So even if that were true, I'm not just going to turn my back on those false...
I'm not turning my back either. I said it right here. For anyone who has been falsely accused, my heart goes out for you. It's really fucking tragic, and it shouldn't happen to anyone. I'm not saying you don't matter. I'm saying that as men, your focus should be more on the women who are in danger versus the guys who are being falsely accused. And one is happening at an alarming rate. The other one is not happening nearly as often as you are mentioning it.
Women have far more advocates for all of their cause, for all of their causes.
That's not true. If that was absolutely true, then
are you kidding me?
Would go to jail.
Say again?
If that was true, rapists would go to jail.
So you're telling me, so it sounds to me like you're telling me that if someone were to go outside my house right now and rape somebody, that they would get away with it. That's what you're telling me.
Most likely, yes. That is exactly true.
So you're telling me that most rapes that happen in America are not prosecuted. Most men that truly do rape women are not punished. They're just allowed to rape. 1,000
rapes, 994 men walk free and are not prosecuted.
Okay. And like I said before, my heart goes out to those 994 women. But trust and believe, women have a lot more advocacy than men do. This is why channels like mine exist. I'm not doubting what you're telling me. I don't have all the statistics, but I do know this. There are enough false rape accusations to have gotten the attention of a lot of people. And I don't care if it's 0.8%. I don't care if it's 0.00008%. That's too many. 994 women being raped. That's 994
women being raped in 2019 is too many, but I don't see you talking about that. I see you.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I said 600,000 women being raped in 2019 is too many, but I don't see you talking about them.
You want to know why? It's because everybody else is. Very few people talk about the false rape. I'm not trying to wave you. I'm not going to say that one is either better or worse than the others, but we have a lot more people are talking about rape victims than people who are talking about falsely being accused.
More often.
Say it again.
One happens more often. Why would you talk about something that barely happens when there's such a larger issue at hand? 1 in 6 women are being raped. This is a fucking problem. No, there's 400,000 untested rape kits. That's a problem. Why are we focusing on the 0.8% of men who are falsely accused when we have better things to worry about?
So there are better things to worry about than
yes.
Okay, so 600. So let's do some math here. Listen, if that's what you think, I'm not gonna vilify you for that. That is what it is. So 600,000 times 0.08. So wait, that's 0.08.
That's yes, I did the math. So that's 45,000 false rape accusations.
Times 0.08. That's 8%. Yeah, that's 45,000 false rape accusations.
And then divide that by 600,000 and you get 0.8%. That's how many accusations are false. It's 0.8%, not even 1%.
Right.
Not even 1%.
Right. Not even 1%. You're right. That's a very small number. 48,000 is a very large number, or 45,000. That's a very large number. 45,000 men have been falsely accused of rape.
600,000 have been actually raped.
Okay. And so the 600,000 women have their advocates and the 45,000 men have ours. See, and again, I'm not, this is not a defeatist attitude. Women who are, I can't even imagine what that must be like to go through. But then again, going through a false rape accusation when you know you didn't do it, that's got to be bad too. I'm not saying either one is better or worse than the other.
Of course, 100%. I completely agree with what you're saying. False accusations are fucked up. And if you are falsely accusing someone of rape, you need to go to jail. Period.
Okay. And I think that if you accuse someone of rape, you got to have the proof.
I mean, I'm not sure what proof to get. If I don't have defensive wounds, what proof do I have? It's he said, she said.
And they're going to believe. And who are they going to believe?
Clearly not women, because 994 of them walk free every year. So not women.
Okay. So you're telling me that if it's a he said, she said type of deal, right?
Yeah.
And they're walking free. Now, here's what we're leaving out. Okay. So there are a lot of false rape accusations, but you see, the false rape accusation that effectively ends a man's life, so to speak. If he doesn't have money or fame or clout, that ends his life, man. The Duke Lacrosse boys, Colin Finnerty, Reed Seligman, and David Evans, their lives were forever changed. They were forever changed. They had to go and change their names legally, right? And again, we know that they were not guilty, obviously, because of the whole DNA thing, right? But the point is that you have to have proof. Crystal Gail Mangum lied because she knew she'd get away with lying. And the reason why, now here's the thing, I'll agree with you on this. I guess the reason why rapes are on the rise is because you're telling me that most rapes don't get prosecuted. I guess that remains to be seen. I guess I'll have to do some research on that. But you want to know why women continue to falsely accuse men of rape? Because they're not being prosecuted for falsely accusing men of rape. You see, when a man gets falsely accused of rape, he loses his job. A lot of times he loses his family. He becomes a public pariah. He's got to move, change his name, and he didn't do anything. Again, Brian Banks.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. So again, I mean, wait, Brian Banks? You probably don't even know who Brian Banks is, do you?
No, I don't.
And again, and listen, it's not slighting you. I wouldn't expect you to, because listen, you're a woman, you're focused on women causes. So you're more in tune with what women are doing. Well, I'm a man and I have male sensibilities, so I know who guys like Brian Banks are. I know who the Duke Lacrosse guys are. Oh my God. Dude, Javante, I mean, the list goes on and on. And so as far as you're concerned, listen, man, I'm all for women being advocates for women who are raped, who do not get justice. If the rape kit's not being tested is really a funding issue, I mean, something's got to be done about that.
Yeah.
But I have chosen to be a men's advocate because there aren't enough men's advocates. There just aren't.
Oh, 100%. I think that, but here's the thing. It's just like, for example, when I was on Fresh and Fit, Myron is constantly saying like, oh, like showing your feelings and like emotions, like that's weak. And like, no one likes that. It's not attractive. But in order for women to understand the problems that men are facing, you guys have to talk about it. You guys have to speak about your emotions and your experiences with these kinds of things. It's an important discussion to have. And by men saying, oh, like if you show emotions and you're vulnerable, like blah, 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 it makes men suppress these emotions, creating so much issues for men, because once you suppress emotions, I mean, that's trauma.
I don't know what men suppressing their emotions around women has to do with being falsely accused of rape.
We were talking about something else I don't remember. But...
Okay. All right. Okay. No problem at all. I will say this. I mean,
men's issues. I'm sorry. I just remembered.
That's okay.
We were talking about that there's not enough male advocates.
Right.
But how can we advocate for something when not enough men are speaking out against the injustices or their experiences? Because a lot of them don't talk about this stuff. I don't hear a lot of men talking about being falsely accused. I don't hear about men talking about being raped and sexually assaulted. I don't hear men talking about it.
I think you're not paying attention. There are for every one Donovan Sharpe, there are 2,000. Oh my God, I can't even, I mean, it's not even close. And listen, I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to cry and whine, oh, there aren't enough men's advocates. Listen, it is what it is. This is our burden as men. We don't expect anyone to clean up our own shit but us. But for you to suggest that men need to speak out against
Yes.
male rapists, they are doing that all the time, every time. I don't know.
No, it's unreported. There's a lot of male rapes that are unreported.
I'm sorry. I was talking about advocates. I wasn't talking about male rapes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what I was telling you is that, and again, I'm not here to cry about it, but women have a lot more support and advocacy for their causes than men do.
By women, though, we only have women advocates. A lot of men are silent about these issues.
I think that's the issue. The reason why men are silent about false rape accusations is because they get canceled. That's why. So it's better for them. And listen, whether they really want to advocate for that or not, there are a lot more men who speak out against men than men who speak out for men. Okay, dude, there are only, like I said, for every one Kevin Samuels, for example, there are 2,000 Derek Jacksons. It's the man's fault and this and that and the other. And so while I agree that, unreported and rapes are important, I think what is equally important is male advocacy for the false rapes. Listen, 600,000 women being raped is definitely a problem. A problem is also 45,000 or 48,000 of those being false.
But you're not advocating for these victims of false accusations. Like, for what I could see, your YouTube channel is mostly just like degrading women and teaching men how to train women like dogs. I don't think that's male advocacy. I think that's using male advocacy as like a guise for degrading women. I don't know, but
so you think that I use my
advocate on your channel for men? That's for sure.
Okay, so it's your assertion that my talking points are so. I guess you're gonna say that I'm a misogynist. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying you're saying that there's not enough male advocacy going on, but I don't see you advocating for men's rights on your channel. Your channel is based on degrading women and teaching men how to train women like dogs.
I think you need to do some more research, Guste. I've been at this for a while. I've done thousands of videos. I really, really do think you need to go down my catalog.
What sort of videos have you done covering, like male advocacy sort of topics like mental health, suicide rates?
Sweetheart, that's for you. Listen, you have to do that research. I've talked.
No, I'm asking you. You're the one who said that you publish this kinds of content. So I'm asking you. So you could do me the favor of not having to go through all your videos and try and find that one video that you're probably referencing to.
So it's one video, right? No. Again, if you're going to levy that kind of listen, it's not up to me to prove to you what I do or don't talk about. If you're going to tell me, well, you've only done one video, then guess what? You're going to have to do the research. I don't have to prove anything to you. My audience.
I just want to know what you've done for male advocacy.
You can, if you want to know, go to donovansharpe.com. You can go to my YouTube channel.
Well, why can't you just tell me? Why can't you just tell me right now? Why are you struggling to answer that question?
I'm not struggling to answer any questions. It's not my job to prove to you what I told
you.
It is.
It's literally your information that you're publicizing online. You can't tell me what you've done to help male.
I did not say that I couldn't tell you. I did not say that I can't tell you what I've done. I've told you that if you really want to know what I've done in terms of male advocacy, the information is there, and you can go and research that. And I'll also tell you this. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. You also said that I use my channel as a guise for talking about how to train women and all this other kind of stuff. Explain what you mean there.
Well, because you were talking about male advocacy, I think that you are using that as a guise to say that your channel is up because
I really don't care about men's issues. So you're thinking I'm using men's issues as a veil to really just poke and jab at women. Is that it?
From what I see on your channel and your Instagram, I have not seen one piece of content that advocates for men's rights, men's issues, how to help take care of their mental health, helping false accusation victims. All I see is like, why women over 30, or single women shouldn't blah, or insecure women are easily more trainable. Like, that's what I see. I see that kind of content, and
yeah, sweetheart, I don't think
that has to do with
sweetheart. You really got to do your research. To suggest,
I'm asking you, but you can't give it to me.
Well, I don't have to give you what you ask for. If you want,
you don't have to, but then don't make me think that you are some sort of male advocate if you can't even tell me what you've done for men.
Tell me what I've done for men. This is interesting. This is very interesting. So because you don't want to do the research, see what's happening here is you think that you're putting me on the spot, and I guess your assertion is that I am using male advocacy as a guise. Hey, I'm a male advocate. And by the way, 16 signs she's a slut. Again, if that's what you really think, you got to do the research.
I've done thousands. I'm telling you right now, I did.
The Guste, I don't know what to tell you, sweetie. If you're going to
tell me what you've done, hold on, it's not that hard.
Guste, if it's not hard, then you can do the research, hon. Okay, and I'm just going to listen. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, I will say this: You tell me that I've done a bunch of videos on how to train women and this and that and the other. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a man? What's wrong with a man training or coaching a woman?
I've never said anything's wrong with that. My point was that I don't see your channel advocating for men's rights as you say that men need to be doing. That was my point.
That's fine.
That's a whole other issue.
I understand. I understand. And you're a woman and you would think that because men and women see things differently. So I wouldn't expect you to understand my channel. Like,
it's scientifically proven that men and women are more alike than they are different. So I'm not really sure what that has to do with anything. But
I'm sorry, one more time.
It's been scientifically proven that men and women are more alike than they are different. So I'm not sure what has
in what way
having to do with being a woman.
Okay, let's go with that. So men and women are more alike, and I agree with you. But in what ways do you feel that men and women are more alike than I guess we care to admit?
Well, I mean, I would have to do more research, but I'm guessing that it has to do with experiences and emotions that we feel, how our chemistry works in our bodies, the cells in our bodies, the organs in our bodies. We have more similarities than we do differences.
I agree.
Our differences are biological. It's just our reproductive systems. And I have more estrogen and you have more testosterone. But other than that, we share more similarities than differences.
No, I totally agree. I think we have more in common than, I think we have more in common than things that we don't. But the things that we don't have in common is what makes us uniquely different. I hate to break it to you, and I think you would understand this, but Guste, men and women aren't the same. We're not made the same. We're not wired the same. We see things and feel things differently.
We are literally the same species. We are just humans with one has a penis and one has a vagina.
That's not
that's really it.
No, that's not really it. One gives birth. The other one gives life. Like, that's a big, big difference. That's a big difference.
We work together. Why are we it's kind of basically what the media does with separating Republicans and Democrats. You're doing the same thing with men and women.
Are you kidding me with this? So what's feminism? You're a feminist, am I wrong?
Of course I'm a feminist. Right. And I care about my rights.
Well, okay, right, exactly. Feminism is divisive. And I've said,
not at all.
I've said on my channel a lot, and I agree with this. Men and women were better together. I have always said and advocated that. And if you want to know when I said it or where I said it, you're gonna have to do the research there too. And I've always said this. I did the whole Vegas player lifestyle and I did all that running around. My life is a lot better now than it used to be because I'm in a relationship. Now, my life would be fine without my relationship, but I think you're getting me mixed up with I guess some other groups. I'm never going to be the guy who tells men, hey, you just have to give up on women, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to tell guys to just go running blindly into a relationship without vetting her, coaching her, and training her to be the woman that you want and need her to be. And women don't like my content. They find it degrading. I don't understand what is degrading about demanding excellence from a woman.
You don't need to train a woman.
Sure you do.
Go find a woman that likes you and who behaves the way that you want her to behave. You don't have to train her.
Sure
She's
you do.
not a dog.
Sure you do.
Women are not domesticated animals. We're not training men. What?
Okay, listen, I am an advocate. You have to train women. You have to train bad behaviors out of women, and you have to protect women from themselves. Listen,
no, if there's bad behavior, you either fix it together or you get into a new relationship and find a new woman. You don't train her. She's not a dog.
You had me until you don't train her. You have to train and coach your woman. And people who are, and I think you're actually just like Kevin Ray. I think we agree on some level because what you said in the end, hey, either fall in or, just find a new relationship, right?
Yeah.
People just don't like, and you're right, but people don't like my vernacular. You do have to coach a woman, right? You have to.
Tell me how you would coach a girl.
Say again?
How would you coach someone? Tell me what give me some advice. How would I coach a woman?
Well, you're a woman. I wouldn't imagine why you would want to coach a woman, but if you really want to know, you can buy my 5-part, 7-hour audio course, How to Build a Quality Woman from the Ground Up, and that will take you from point A to point Z.
Well, you see, I don't want to spend that time and energy looking that up.
Well,
so that's why I'm asking you for quick summaries of what's going on. But
you have to I'll put it to you this way. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Today's women have habits and characteristics that are not conducive to, they have habits, characteristics, and traits that are conducive to infidelity. It is your job as a man, if a woman sees fit, and here's the thing, Guste, I've tried training many women. I was successful with 2.5. I was successful with a half of one, then I was successful with one for a little while. The last one I was successful with, she's my girlfriend now. Most women are not going to adhere to this training. You want to know why? Because most women are not willing to do what's necessary to not put their relationship at risk. A lot of men like to say, well, if a woman loves you, she will never cheat on you. That's wrong. If a woman loves you, she will not put herself in position to cheat. Listen, Devin is my girlfriend. There is no doubt in my mind there is anything she wouldn't do for me. But if she were at a bachelorette party and there was a hot guy swinging his dick in front of her, I'm not cocky enough to sit here and think that she wouldn't partake if she knew I wouldn't find out, right? And so a woman who loves you would not put herself in position to betray you. As such, to that end, she has to trust you enough to train you, to train her rather, not to put herself in those situations. That is, I guess that's the Cliff's Notes version. So
For sure. I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line
Does that
is,
apply to men though? Does that same ideology apply to men though?
Of course not. You want to know why?
You see?
You want to know why? Guess what, Goose Day? Because there are more of you than there are of me. That's why. That's why the rules don't apply. Is that fair?
There's more women in
no. There's more of you than there are me.
What is that supposed to mean?
What that means is that there are more Goose Days than Donovan Sharps. What this means is that there are more young, pretty girls than guys who make into the upper six figures. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Okay,
and so,
but it doesn't mean that all those men are getting laid. It's like
maybe not. No, listen, that doesn't mean no, you're right. Absolutely. It doesn't mean they're all getting laid. But when a woman gets with a man, and the thing is this, man, it's not like we're supposed to accept this, but that's the way it is. We as men, we have to accept hard and fast truths. My girlfriend does not love me unconditionally. She doesn't. If I were to get fat, lose my drive, lose my money, lose my brand, guess what? She'll be out the door in two shakes of a lamb's tail. And the same
goes for you. If she got fat, you probably wouldn't date her either.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily think it's like unconditional, but there's, certain aspects that need to be maintained. Otherwise the relationship's just not worth.
Yeah, no, I agree with. I will tell you this though. I have a much wider margin for error than she does.
Why is that?
Well, because once again, there are more Donovan Sharps than there are Devin. Or, I'm sorry, there are more Devins than there are Donovans. That's why. And again, is that fair? I don't know, but that's the way it is. It's supply and demand.
Well, that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Even if there's more Goose Days than there are Donovans, there's more Goose Days that have more successful dating relationships and they have an easier time getting people versus the Donovans. So who's really winning here?
Are the Goose Days getting sustainable relationships, or are the Goose Days just sleeping around?
No, well, I mean, I guess you could say both. I don't sleep around, but I'm also happy single. So I don't really want a relationship. I've been in a great relationship before previously.
Okay. All right. Yeah, really what it comes down to is, I don't know, let me try and make another, you know what? Here's it's really hard with relationships, but the more something is available, the less valuable it becomes. Okay. This doesn't mean that women are not valuable. This doesn't mean men are not valuable. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But there's a reason why Ben Roethlisberger for the Pittsburgh Steelers makes $22 million a season rather than, $22 million a season. And Fred Smith down at the local fire department makes $50,000 a year, because a lot fewer people can do what Ben Roethlisberger does. Firemen, listen, that is a great and noble job, but people don't tune in every Sunday by the millions to watch Fred Smith eating chili and fighting fires. They watch him on TV if there's a fictional character. So I'll marry that back to the whole man-woman thing. Now, I will say this. Me 15 years ago, I wasn't worth shit. There were a lot more, Alex Hopkinses than there were, pretty girls for me to have fun with. But now at 44 years old, I have increased my worth. I've increased my value. That gives me leverage. That gives me the ability to be much more selective with who I allow into my life. By the same token, it also gives me a little bit of leeway. Now, I don't want to get fat. Like, that's not something I want to do, right? But if I were to gain a little bit of weight, Devin would be stupid to leave. Now that she can, if she wants, that's fine. But again, there are still more of her than there are me. And that's not a slight on women. But the reason why, to go back to your question, well, why doesn't the same standard apply to women? Why do women have to do certain things to keep their relationships out of risk and men don't have to do that? Well, because there are more of these kinds of women than there are men like us. That's really all it is.
I think any slight thing, if I had to maintain my man and I had to continue giving him something I would leave the guy. I don't think that applies to a lot of women. At the first red flag, we all leave. Regardless if there's no men left on the world, I'd rather be alone than with an abusive or a shitty partner.
Yeah. And listen, if I were to abandon my relationship at the first red flag, I'd never be in a relationship. But time and experience has taught me how to not only deal with and mitigate these risks, but then to also maybe train them out of her. See, I'm in a great seat. If I were to leave the very first time I saw a red flag from Dev, we wouldn't even be here right now. Dude, Devin has more fucking red flags than a Chinese parade, right?
I mean, don't leave, but address it. I think confrontation is important in a relationship.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Okay. So, I think this was a solid discussion. I am pleasantly surprised. But and I don't mean that as a slight on you. And I told my audience, they were like, she's going to be this. And I said, no. I have a feeling Guste is going to, I had a feeling everything was going to be good with that. And I mean this when I say this. Anytime you want to come on and debate an issue, like seriously, I'm all for it, man. I don't mind giving you the eyeballs. I'll make sure my audience is respectful to you. I will send traffic to, not harassment traffic, but dude, I'll send traffic to your website, traffic to your Instagram. I think it's very important for people to see clearly diametrically opposing views on one another. And I think that gives everybody a little more dimension in the way of their own opinion. So listen, if you're game, I'm game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm pleasantly surprised as well. I would say I did expect this just because when I emailed your assistant, the rules that you give the guest before coming on, it made me feel a lot more comfortable coming on the platform because personally my experience with Fresh and Fit was fucking awful. And I would never want to put myself in a position like that again. And thankfully this wasn't that. And as you said, I do think it's really important, especially for men and women on opposite sides of this spectrum, to be able to see two people with very different, mentalities, be able to talk respectfully and not harass one another. Those Fresh and Fit fans who harass me on my messages and my pictures, that's not okay. You can disagree with me and just be like, oh, what, she's stupid, but you don't have to, get that immature and go attack people for no reason. It's super divisive. Like you said, men and women are better together. We might as well talk about things and if we disagree, whatever. But at the end of the day, I think that both men and women are fighting for something that we believe in, and it's going to benefit society as a whole.
Okay. It's
us against a very elite. And what the elite want us to do is to, be divided, whether that's vaccinated versus unvaccinated, Democrat, Republican, men, women. So I think it's really important for us, men and women, to have discussions like this.
I did not expect that. I did not expect to hear that from you, but hey, wow, very good. She is, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Guste, yeah, you got
Guste.
it.
Okay, very good. She is Guste, guys. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel. Again, don't harass, don't bully, don't do any of that stuff. Follow her on Instagram. Listen, seriously, I think this was important. It was actually, dare I say, enjoyable. It's good to sort of verbally
honestly,
spar.
I agree. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I think it was. Listen, reach out to Heather and listen, I'd love to do this again in a week or two. Real talk.
Yeah, no. Well, let her know what sort of topics. I mean, I feel like we could also do discussions that aren't really men, women kind of thing. Maybe a different, spice it up a little bit. But I'm down. I really love this conversation. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. She is Guste Janice. You guys can follow her on Instagram at Guste Janice. I've got all of her all of her links in the chat. Guste, thanks for making time with us tonight. I look forward to the next visit.
Thank you. Also, I was going to ask, are you recording this?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will have Heather send you the full copy of this whole thing, and you can post it on your channel and Instagram and all that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. It was really good talking to you, Donovan.
You too.
I hope you have a good night.
All right. She is Guste Janice, guys. Like I said, subscribe to all of her stuff. Her links are in the chat.